I had done trampoline and circus growing up. I'd been a motorcycle courier, and then I met a stuntman, and I was like, wait, that's a thing you can do as a job? And I just very actively pursued it. Someone says, hey, do you want to get hit by a car? And you're like, okay, in 3 weeks, that sounds great. And then you don't think about it. And then you're there looking at the car going, maybe I don't want to do this anymore, but it's too late. I've worked on the Deadpools. I worked on quite a few X-Men movies. A lot of TV shows shot in Vancouver, a lot of big action things.
But how did you get into drifting?
So every time that I got any kind of stunt work, I would just reinvest that money in driving training. I got in a drift car, was like, oh, this is my favorite part of stunt driving. It's the sideways, but all the time.
How did you get the funds to do it? How did you get the car?
I sold my home.
Do you get to tune the cars that you drive in film?
You get it as it is. So generally speaking, our tuning is tire pressure.
Oh, really?
That's it. The only thing worse than doing this would be not doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Okay, so Zee Kennedy, thank you for coming on The Creative Drive.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So you flew in from Vancouver today?
I did, yeah.
All right. Yeah, and so you're based out of Canada, but it seems like you're kind of like a roamer a little bit, right?
I haven't really had a fixed address in a few years. I did for my first year of FD, and then after that, I just was like, there's not really a point. I'm not anywhere enough. Yeah. So I'm not really based anywhere anymore. I'm trying to shift my base down here just because of the car culture stuff. But there is a lot of film in Vancouver, and I have a lot of history there.
Hey there, quick break from the drive to share something I'm genuinely excited about. If you live and breathe car culture like I do, you've got to check out Racer Plus. It's the new streaming platform for motorsports, rally, off-road, drifting, bikes, it's all there. We stream every stage of the World Rally Championship, Full Dakar Rally, Crandon Off-Road, DTM, Le Mans, World Superbike, the Isle of Man TT, and even Formula Drift. FD fans, this one's for you. It's all in one place, even these podcasts. And here's the kicker. You can bundle Racer Plus with a full year Racer magazine subscription. That's 6 beautifully designed collectible issues delivered to your door. It's one of the few magazines out there that still feels like a piece of art. I even contribute to the magazine too, and we're really proud of this product. So whether you're into drifting like I am or off-road like I am too, just inspired by the stories behind the scene, this bundle hits everyone. Head over to racer.com/bundle and sign up now. Let's keep driving the car culture forward. What's this about this Unimog that you're almost living out of? I'm a big fan of Unimogs.
So to be totally transparent, it's an LMTV. So it's a U.S. military. It's an M1078A1 is the official name. And it's a 2.5-ton 4x4 truck. I used to have a Sprinter van, and that was sort of my
That's more like van life.
Yeah,
right?
well, it was van life, and I had built it to be kind of the perfect, when I was at a lower level of driving, I got an all-aluminum trailer, a dually Sprinter can tow it, it was kind of perfect. Yeah. And then that got destroyed in an accident, someone was driving the wrong way on the I-5 and rode off my van and their vehicle, but everyone walked away. Okay. So I was like, okay, I accept that. And I went to go see the truck kind of as a joke, as a way of sort of pivoting this awful thing. Yeah. I built that van myself. I had it for 10 years, and I had just said to my friend that I never wanted to not have a van. So anyway, I went to go see this truck, and I just fell completely in love with it. So I convinced myself that since it was only 1.5 feet longer than a Sprinter, and a Sprinter is already over height, it was basically the same thing. I didn't really factor in the fact that it's 8 feet wide or any of those other things, but no, it's a real project, but I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
This is Racer, your all-access pass to the best in motorsports, performance, and car culture. Get Racer Plus for live races, extended highlights, breaking news, and fan-favorite build and enthusiast shows, all in one place. From Formula Drift to off-road mayhem.
A full-blown nail-biter.
Supercars to grassroots brawls, garages to rare collectors. Stream it all, anytime, anywhere. This is about machines and the people who move the culture forward. And when the screen fades, the story continues in Racer Magazine, a collectible trusted by champions, creators, and connoisseurs. Every page, a deeper dive into the soul of speed and performance. Racer Plus and Racer Magazine, the ultimate bundle. Built for the obsessed. Powered by passion.
So when people tell you, like, what's your occupation, what do you say?
I'm a stuntwoman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get into stunts? I mean, you do all kinds of stunts, right? Not just driving, but you do all kinds of stunts.
Yeah, historically, I've done everything. And I got into stunts, I always say, very deliberately. Like, I didn't have any family connections. I didn't know anyone. It's actually a lot like my racing path. But I learned that stunts was a job. I had done trampoline and circus growing up. I'd been a motorcycle courier. And then I met a stuntman, and I was like, wait, that's a thing you can do as a job? And I just very actively pursued it. So I started studying the resumes of all the top stunt women and slowly building kind of the skill set. Because I didn't know anyone, I wanted to just be as kind of versatile as possible. So that was like freediving, tactical shooting, rappelling, rigging, anything I could think of that was like maybe be a skill that I might need. And so that's actually how I started driving. Is I took my first stunt driving course when I was 19 and I loved it. So I went back and I bought a 1987 Ford Crown Victoria, and just like, I was never a cool kid. I didn't go to parties. I just went out and drove my car late at night. Yeah.
And so the Crown Vic got you into driving.
The Crown Vic got me into driving and got people, as I was developing my stunt career in general, to kind of see that I was taking things seriously. I had an opportunity to kind of demonstrate to coordinators that I was developing a skill set. I was working on it on my own. We would shoot these really kind of cheesy, just shorts, whatever we could. Like, stunt people, when you're getting into it, what you need to do is show people what you can do. And the best way to do that.
Have like a reel, right?
Like basically. A reel,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
if you don't have on-set experience, you're shooting fight scenes, you're shooting anything that you can. So that kind of gave me a really early taste of creating and shooting car content, basically, that I loved. Yeah.
And then, so you got into, stunts, and you do that. But how did you like get into like drifting though? Because that's like crashing cars and being in, and doing precision driving is different.
It's wildly different. So I love driving so much. As soon as I started doing it, I wanted to really develop my skill set as a stunt driver, because as I was getting into stunts, I was at like 19, early 20s, and I would meet these women that used to be stunt women. And then I would see all the guys driving on set, and I was like, oh, so if I want to have a long career, I need to be in a car. So every time that I got any kind of stunt work, I would just reinvest that money in driving training. So initially that was like Team O'Neill, that was Skip Barber, that was basically any driving school I could find. Yeah. And then someone suggested like, oh, you should try drifting. And I was like, okay. And it was just like when I did my first stunt driving course, I got in a drift car, was like, oh, this is my favorite part of stunt driving. Like, it's the sideways, but all the time. And I bought a car by the end of the week. Yeah. And then it was just initially still, I wanted to build my skill set. I wanted to be so outside of I wanted to build my comfort zone to be so high that when I was at work, I was never even close to 90%. And it just got addictive. I would see Odie out at the track and be like, oh, like I thought I knew what a good driver was. Right. And then you would see what drifting is and what's possible. And it just was kind of really addictive.
Yeah. There's probably very few women that could drift too, right? On set.
Yeah, on set.
I'm just guessing, but I feel like Stina Hubenet is like the only person I see that's doing that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, there are a few, but again, like drifting is such a particular skill set, and it has evolved so much in the 20 years that drifting has really been around in North America. I had the benefit of working with Taka a lot, and he's such a technician. He's like Mr. Miyagi for drifting, and so he really helped shape my driving and change my idea about driving. But having that skill set certainly set me apart and gave me a real advantage at work.
Yeah. Taka Ono is like exactly like Mr. Miyagi for a lot of people. Yeah. So what part of drifting did you like fall in love with?
I mean, I'm a person that's wired, like my brain is always busy, right? So for me, what I love about drifting is actually when you're going fast enough and it's flow state, right? Everything gets slow. I can see the looks on people's faces. I can just be exactly present in the moment. Some people meditate. I like to meditate at speed, I guess. And you also, compete as well. How did you get into, Formula Drift and competing though? Yeah, so I actually have a relationship with the word never. So when I was working with Taka, he was very conscious. He was like, what are you trying to do here? Like, how do we develop your skill set the best? And I said to him, I never want to compete in Formula Drift. So 2 years later, I got my license. And it was really just at that point, I was competing just to kind of force myself to have a reason to develop a skill set. And I earned my license in 2021 in a shootout. It was like very unexpected. And when it happened, I realized in that moment, I was the only Canadian woman to ever get a license. So I was like, I think I have to do this. Like, it wasn't on my list, but I felt like I had to explore it. Like, that door doesn't open for very many people. Yeah. So when it does, you walk through.
And well, it having a license and competing in a series is also, completely different, story. How did you get the funds to do it? How did you get the car? I mean, that's, it's a journey in itself.
So my first year in FD was 2023. At the end of 2021, I'd been doing back-to-back seasons of a TV show I was coordinating during COVID. It was a lot, and I was just really burnt out. And so I decided I was going to go on a trip. I'm going to go on an adventure. I knew it. I'd earned my license already at that point. I hadn't quite decided. At that point, you had 2 years to decide what to do with it. And I decided to go on a road trip. I only made it to Willow Springs with my race car, at which point, 2 months in, I was then competing at Clutch Kickers because I decided with Taka, okay, if I'm going to apply to FD, which I did, I definitely need more seat time, more competitive seat time. Yeah. So then my life became for 2022, it was 20,000 mile tour of the US. I did as many grid lives as I could, all the Clutch Kickers, just trying to develop the experience I didn't feel like I actually had in order to not show terribly when I started at FD. Simultaneously, we decided that the LS swapped Z that I had was not going to be enough car. And I have a 2J swapped S14, so we decided to develop that car, but a little too late, in my opinion. As far as raising the funds, I sold my home. I basically sold everything I had, and literally any bit of income I made, everything I did just went towards that program. I mean, it absolutely destroyed me financially, but I needed to know that I tried everything, I guess.
Yeah. You threw everything at it. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You sponsored yourself, basically. Yeah.
Owner driver.
Yeah. I mean, how did you, being from Canada, and did you already have some of those relationships built to, at least get free tires, free, sponsor parts? I mean, that you didn't buy everything, right?
I bought most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that 2022 year was actually really formative in terms of it taught me a lot about, okay, running a team on the road. What do I need logistically? What does transport look like? It was a different scale, but it still taught me a lot of what I needed. And it helped me build some of those relationships. Some of the companies that I've worked with were really great. Holly was really excellent, and you come into FD and there's certain inbuilt relationships, right? At the pro spec level, it's a spec tire. Yeah. You're using the ECU. So there's a certain amount of discount given to all the drivers, but not many of them are getting free tires. Right. Usually not the ones that need them the most. Yeah.
And how did you do? I mean, in your season?
I had a really humbling first season, and I had a really interesting set of circumstances in my second season. I didn't get the seat time that I needed in my S14 before my very first event, which was Atlanta. And Atlanta, I have a lot of feelings actually about the order of events for Pro Spec in terms of showing for new drivers, because there's not a ton of opportunity for a new driver to get seat time at the speeds that you're going, especially at Atlanta. Right. Most people are earning their license at 60 miles an hour, something like that. And Atlanta's entry is a lot faster than that. Yeah. Sim driving has completely changed the game. And if I can say the one thing that I wish I had done differently was just made sure that I always had access to a sim and kind of gotten through that. There's a real steep learning curve with sim driving, right? It can get so frustrating. And that's why very few of the OG drivers, people that learn to drive in a car, don't love a sim because it doesn't give you the feedback. Yeah. But as Taka kind of explained to me, sim drivers drive with their eyes more than they drive with their bodies. Right. And then everything else becomes bonus. So I really wish that I had focused on that. I think that would have changed my outcome a lot.
Yeah. Like Minowa, he does a bunch of sim, right?
I asked him, and to be fair, if you're under 18, and you are supported by your family, or if you're supported by your family in general, like you can dedicate the time to practice that someone who is also paying for the food for themselves and their rent and all of that things maybe can't. But he did something like 8,000 laps on a track before he competed at it. That is a significant advantage.
Yeah. It's like the 10,000, hours of, the Beatles story, right?
Exactly.
It's if you have it, it's just an advantage, right? Yeah. So what did you learn from competing at Formula Drift?
I mean, I definitely learned that it isn't always the best drivers. Not that I'm saying that I'm one of the best drivers, but it isn't just talent that can get you there. There's so much infrastructure, there's so much support. And when you really look at the teams that are doing well, a lot of them have family support around them. It really is a family, whether that's your friends, so many people's friends, family are flying themselves in or helping transport. And it takes so many people, right? It's really not about the driver. It takes a whole team, being successful for anyone to win. The driver might get the most credit, but it is not just the driver. So that was something I learned. And just I loved kind of the peek behind the curtain, honestly. Formula Drift is actually quite small. I was shocked at how, like, you watch it in such a big operation, then you get inside of it, and it is really quite a family environment, you know, and the organizers really are supportive, and everyone just loves drifting so much. So that is consistent with grassroots, the passion.
It is a very small operation, right? I mean, by the season's over, you probably know everybody pretty, intimately. You see them every event, but there's not a lot of guys, that are running the thing, which is pretty impressive. Yeah.
I think it's something like 12 full-time employees at Formula Drift.
Yeah. I mean, I've known all those guys for such a long time, and it's like pretty much the same guys, from the very, very beginning. Yeah. So motorsports is a team sport, right? It is, and I guess that's what you take away from it the most. But what do you think about, like, when someone comes and asks you, like, how did you do it? Like, how I want to get into this. Like, what do you say to these people?
I mean, what's funny is my answer is exactly the same for stunts as it is for racing. If you can do anything else, you should do that. But the people who are not deterred by that are going to get there, and it will possibly nearly kill you, but it's an experience that you have to have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're never as ready as you think. I think that's the big one. We go back in Canada, there's a few guys that got their licenses and they're like, we're going to take over and all this stuff. And it's like, there's so many elements you're not thinking of, just the scheduling of it, right? Yeah. Like, if you're a driver who's used to being your crew chief, that's pretty hard to do when you have autograph signings, when you have to be at practice, when you have to be at all of these different places and the facility is big. So I would just say, get as much seat time before you commit, and don't build a car just before your competitive season. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. What would you do differently if you had a chance again?
Definitely more sim. I'm not someone that, like, really focuses on regret, but I think the biggest thing is also trusting my own instinct when it came to running my team. Everyone has an opinion, and it's tough. The sport has evolved so much that people's lessons or the way that it worked 10 years ago is very different than the way it works now. I feel like the biggest asset a driver can offer, you need to be competitive, but what you're offering to sponsors isn't really your competitive results most of the time. Right? That's not how they get attention, and that's not what actually drives sales anymore.
Right.
So I would have put even more effort into media sooner. I would have focused a little bit heavier on telling the story, but I feel pretty content with what I was able to do in that space as well in that time. FD was really open to supporting some of the endeavors that I wanted to do to bring more women into the space, to have I had an almost entirely female crew the second season, and I was able to bring a lot of women behind the scenes with the support of FD just to meet people and hopefully get them inspired to get involved as well.
Are you doing, like, things with women in motorsports and things like that with that organization, or what are you doing to get more women involved into what you're doing?
Well, when I was in FD,
Yeah.
I started something called the Women of FD Tour. So basically at every round that I wasn't competing at, I would bring a group of women behind the scenes and FD would comp their tickets. And all of the women who were working in the pits, like not drivers, would donate some of their time to talk to these women about their jobs and how they got there. Because I really don't feel that motorsport isn't welcoming to women, but I do think that the path isn't clear or all the potential options aren't as clear as they could be. So just providing that opportunity to people was really important to me.
What do you think needs to be, change, or what should be changed?
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure if it's something needs to be changed so much as how people are looking at it. Maybe it's just exposure, right? The more that people can share what it's like to do the job and when we highlight women that are doing the job already, it does make people see that it's possible. Some women, I think a lot of the women already in the space are the kind of people that would be there no matter what. They're the kind of women that didn't think that there was any reason they shouldn't be there. But some people just need a little bit more encouragement or to
nudge.
see someone to look up to. I didn't feel like I really had that, so I was never looking for it. But creating that opportunity for other people, I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. What was your biggest challenge, though, like when you were competing, like day in, day out?
I think my biggest challenge was just honestly managing finances and logistics, right? Because I didn't have a home base and because I had to fly for work, I often had to turn down work, and stunt work is contract based, right? So that it's happening on those dates.
So were you flying back to Vancouver to do these?
Flying back to Vancouver, flying to Toronto, but I turned down really big jobs that, in hindsight, I kind of wish I hadn't. Just because they were actually really rewarding jobs, but when I was in FD, that was my priority. And I said no to anything that wasn't furthering that. And that did affect me financially quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's big, but that's what you were doing as a priority, right? You wanted to go all in and see if you can make it, right? Yeah. What kind of films are you? Your work we can see. And
I mean, I have a pretty long list. I've been really fortunate. I've worked on the Deadpools. I worked on quite a few X-Men movies. A lot of TV shows shot in Vancouver, a lot of big action things. I just was working on Tracker, doing some pretty cool car chase stuff that I can't say any more than that about. But I've been very fortunate.
Do you get to tune the cars that you drive in films, or do you just drive whatever they give you?
Oh, man, that is one of the biggest differences, and actually one of my hardest lessons as a driver. When you're on a film set, especially, you're not on Fast and the Furious, you get one car.
Yeah.
You can't damage it
Right.
because they're going to shoot something else with it after. And you get it as it is. So generally speaking, our tuning is tire pressure.
Oh, really?
That's it.
Really?
And then you have to adapt to the car and what it's giving you to make it do the action that they want.
Side brake?
Sometimes a hydro, sometimes like a foot pedal e-brake, but it's usually inline, which means that you don't get quite the same modulation with the brake, and you have to use the main brake before you can get full pressure. So in stunt driving, you're always adapting to the car. The idea, I think the first time someone said, well, how do you want the car to be? I was like, what do you mean? Well, what do you want the car to feel like? Like, how do you want us to adjust it? And I was like,
50 PSI or 30?
I'm supposed to choose this? But, it's it's good and bad, right? At New Jersey in the second season, I went home and Taco went and talked to my crew chief, and they made something like a 1-inch toe change without telling me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Overnight. And then I went and drove the car.
Huge,
it's
though.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went and drove the car, and they were like, well, how does the car feel? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it feels a little like twitchier today.
Yeah.
And Taka told me that he was in the stands and Taguchi was watching, and he was like, what did you do to your driver? Why is she so different and so much better now?
Yeah.
They had changed the entire car and I just adapted to it, but I didn't know how to ask for that.
Right.
Nor do I really, until you're really driving at your limits, and that's something Taka really put us through, was we drive this car until it's undrivable for you in either direction, and then you find your zones that are good.
Yeah. That's how you have to sort of go over the limit to adjust and find that nice sweet spot, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I get practice in a car before I drive it on set, it might be 2 tries. It's sometimes I get a rehearsal day, but it's equally as common that they're like, cool, that's the thing. Camera's there. Don't hit it. Slide in. Yeah. Should we shoot the rehearsal? And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Oh, wow. And you get to drive all different kinds of cars, right? I mean, you might be drifting an Escalade one day.
Yeah.
Or it might be, a sports car.
Yeah, totally. And I've gotten a call where it's like, we want you to do this, like drift this H2. And I'm like, are you aware that's all-wheel drive? Oh, but you make it work, right?
Yeah.
You do, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what are you, focusing on, stunts, obviously, but you do some grid life still, right? What are you focusing on right now?
I have this like passion project that I've been developing for like 5 years. And it started out actually when I was working on a show in Morocco, and I'd been working on this show for the entire season, and they'd had me like crashing through windows, rappelling in cocktail gowns, motorcycle chases. And I kept being like, hey guys, like this is cool. I'm loving this. But I do have one particular skill that I feel like we're not using. Like, could we do something in a car? Maybe? I don't know. And Morocco was the very end of our shoot, and they rode in a car chase, basically because I'd been harassing them so much. And we had this really cool experience of, okay, well, now we're in Morocco, and we have to shop for cars for this car chase. And we just had these wild experiences of like guys bringing us the cars to see, and then them getting in an accident after we tested the cars, and like one guy fleeing because there was no insurance. And then I'm showing a guy, we have no common language, and I'm showing him a video trying to explain how to weld the diff, to prep these cars. And it was like such a cool experience. And I had also reached out, I discovered that there were drifters in Morocco.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what I really want to do is like travel the world and meet drifters, and sort of combine like the Top Gear challenges with Anthony Bourdain and travel to a place, build a car, meet the drifters, drift with them, and then ideally give the car away to someone locally, But the thing with drifting that I think is unique is that it's a motorsport where like money matters at the highest level, but it's not about how rich you were born. Like if you're going to have the skill or not, you need a rear-wheel drive car. Yeah. Ideally a hydro, ideally it's manual, ideally a welded diff, pretty much need a welded diff, but you don't need that much. Yeah. So the personality in the cars, it's not like autocross, it's not like MX-5 Cup where every car is exactly the same. Like you see so much of a person in what their car looks like. Yeah. And I just think there's so much more heart when it's not about money.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the, easier entry level motorsports that you can get into, right? And I think that's why grid life is so special too, right?
I would say it's easier to get into, but I wouldn't want to dismiss the skill level of some of the drivers.
Oh, no, not at all. But it's to get into
it's very accessible.
Way accessible than getting into a Porsche, Cup car race or something like that. Yeah. What do you like so much about grid life, though?
Grid life, every time I drive a grid life, it reminds me that I love drifting. It's the size of the tracks is super cool. Number one, it's rare in drifting. You get to drive such a big track and give ride-alongs. Like for me, and I think for most drifters, ride-alongs are such a key piece of it, like getting to be kind of a human roller coaster and put that feeling in someone else to share this thing that you love so much with other people. I love that, the vibes and just getting to kind of experiment and explore. And, competing is like fun, but it's not really fun, So getting into an environment where you're actually just drifting for pleasure, it's kind of unbeatable.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at social media and you see, even like F1 drivers giving ride-alongs, it looks like they're having, more fun than the person that, they're giving the ride to. So I guess it must be the same for drifters as well.
I think it is. I mean, you obviously are also a car person. So like that feeling, sometimes it feels like it's only happening in you. Yeah. Right. So I think getting to share that at all is just really special.
Yeah. I've only done actually ride along at Long Beach.
Oh, I mean,
but it's fun though, and I forgot who did I ride with? Dylan Hughes. That's
he's a good one to ride with.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. But it was like sharing that experience, right? So I guess from a driver's point of view, it's like, I get to whip this car around this awesome track with this, random dude. Must be pretty entertaining for the driver as well.
Well, it's that. And I mean, it's like when you do anything, it sort of loses its like, you forget how exciting it is. So even just getting to experience a bit of that like first time feeling again is amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of your, content creation, social media. How do you, what do you feel is the best way engaging with fans and connecting with folks?
I mean, I feel like what's cool about social media is the fact that you feel like you can actually connect with a human in a way that like TV and film creates this separation.
Right, yeah.
But social media is a window into as much of a person as they're willing to share. So to me, I feel like it's that, right? It's being identifiable. It's sharing so much. I feel like so much social media is very aspirational and it's very like highlight reel. That's not really my philosophy. But I mean, honestly, I think that a lot more people can identify with, I am in way over my head. This seemed like a good idea at the time, but like these are the realities of it. So that's what I like to see on social media is like a piece of my own life or something I can connect to. And so that's what I try to share.
I feel like these days, even brands and the audience is getting a little bit more mature in terms of who to follow and what they see. And it's less about like millions and millions of views. And it's more about like, do I really connect with this person? And would I want to really hang out with this person rather than just like huge numbers? And especially like I think the brands are getting smarter in the way they select who to partner with. Do you feel the same about that?
I do. I mean, I think that there's a really big difference between views and conversions. I might watch something because it's ridiculous. I send it to my friends because I'm laughing at it.
Yeah.
But there's a really big difference between building trust or, this person is actually an authority. So I think that, if you only look at the numbers of views, that isn't really telling the story of how many people are interested in the things that person is doing or relying on them as a source of information.
Yeah. How do you think brands are becoming smarter in the way they engage with creators, for example?
Well, I think that's a big piece of it. I mean, in my personal opinion, we watched social media do exactly what television did in like the 50s,
Yeah.
I'm a dentist and I use Colgate, right? And you have these influencers who are maybe really good at creating their own content or sharing their own stories, but they don't come from advertising, right? And they might have a really specific skill set. But when brands don't let people tell their stories in their way or engage with their audience in their way, and if they built their audience, then they know how to connect with that audience. I think giving people that freedom to do what they do best is really important.
Yeah. Do you feel like interacting with fans directly and interacting with them on social is a sort of a different kind of skill set or...
I mean, I've noticed that many people, like many of the best influencers that I've seen are actually quite shy in person, right? The camera does give this sort of separation that can allow you to feel more confident. And so for some people, they definitely don't have that skill set because it is a very different one. I think both are important.
Are you better in real life or are you better in front of the camera? How do you feel?
You probably have to ask someone else, but I think I can be good in real life. Like there's something to me that feels so weird about the fact that anyone would like go out of their way to want my time or want to talk to me about what I'm doing. So I really try to honor that. And I personally love to put people in my car. Like just how many people get to sit in a race car? So for me, like those interactions are very rewarding. I would say that's more rewarding for me. I'm still kind of learning what people engage with best. It does seem like it is the kind of genuine, feels like we're having a conversation type content. Yeah.
Do you feel like your career being a stunt woman has like prepared you for, being in front of people when you were drifting or like being in front of the camera for social media? What do you think about that?
It's actually like the perfect question because in some sense, yes, I have to go on action. Right? I have to do the thing that I have to do when they say go. There is no like, ooh, hold on, I need a second. Like there's no restarts. You have to do it. There's 17 other things that are going to happen. So in that sense, like working under pressure, yes. But with stunts, especially at the time that I came up, we were like spies. Like if we did our job correctly, you don't know we're there.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was always, we don't talk about this, right? Someone who's a real stunt person doesn't go around telling people about it.
Right.
And then when I got into racing and I was like, oh, my personal brand is actually the thing that's going to determine how successful I am with sponsors and everything else. And as it turns out, everyone in film is fascinated by racing. Everyone in racing just wants to talk about stunts.
Yeah.
So learning how to share this thing that I'd kind of protected as a way of kind of making sure that I was being professional, walking that line between being professional and also sharing has been very interesting.
Yeah. So you're like, you couldn't talk about like your work too much when you were racing? Is that what you were saying?
Like we sign NDAs.
Yeah.
Right. So that to a certain extent you can talk about things, but also I think at the time that I really got into film and got into stunts, it wasn't really looked upon very well to be kind of going around running your mouth about being a stuntman. And generally speaking, the stereotype is like if someone tells you, it's because they don't really do it. They don't really want to talk about it if they do it all the time.
I see.
So learning to sort of break that habit of just being like, oh, I work in film and being very dismissive. And, oh, no, you actually have to talk about what you did and like explain to people, some of the nuances of it and be proud of it and kind of share it.
Yeah.
That was new for me.
Yeah, no, I think it's a different mindset, right? Because being a stunt, man or stunt woman, your job is to, as you say, not be noticed, right? Because if you're noticed, you're not doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
Or the director or whoever's shooting you is not doing their job because you're supposed to be another person, right?
And a lot of actors do their own stunts.
Yeah.
So,
They all do.
So you have to be like very used to them not giving you credit and being okay with that, right? Because do you want to work with them again?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, we know you're not doing your own stunts, though. I mean,
Tom Cruise is. He's the only one.
Yeah, well, right. But like, guys like, Keanu Reeves, for example, right? When Tanner talks about like doing all this, most of the stunts for, well, no, not Tanner gave credit to Keanu for doing a lot of his own stunts too. But, you talk to Tanner and he's like, he did a lot of the stunts himself too. But, there's kind of a role there for each other. And being a stunt person, you really can't go out and say, I did this, right? But as a race car driver, you have to. That's your job too. And even your sponsors want you to say that you did this and they want you to be out on camera. So it's sort of a different mindset because the other is like, you have to be behind the scenes. The other, you have
to be in front. Yeah, and it does seem that also the film industry, to an extent, there's a bigger tolerance for that now because it has become a way that marketing works. Right, and marketing works for stunt people too. Right, if they're able to showcase their skills to more people, they're going to get more jobs.
Yeah, it's probably really good for the film too because it's like it's not CG and it's actually someone actually doing the stunt, right? And I feel like it's. I want to go see, so-and-so film because it's actually someone doing precision driving compared to just like being, CG'd.
Yeah, I think if they shared more of those stories, I think it would actually be more impressive. Like I did a stunt on the Atom Project and I had to basically do a reverse 180 on this dirt road between two trees that we literally measured. And I probably had an extra 6 to 8 inches past the like diagonal width of the car.
Yeah.
And they added other trees in other places in post and you can see that it's treated. So you almost don't see how hard that was.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like if they shared that stuff, people would actually be more impressed or more interested.
Yeah, no, I think so because it's another, like you say, it's part of the story, right? Yeah. Did you kind of grapple with that though? Like being like, What's your personality like growing up? That were you an extrovert or were you an introvert or how, because for me, it took me a long time to be able to speak on camera like naturally because it was just not in me to be like out there. How was that for you?
I mean, honestly, before racing, like there's very much a stereotype with stunt people, which is like set me on fire before you make me say words on camera, like, and there are some overlap, right? Like you're the cop going freeze and then you get shot or whatever it is. But a lot of stunt people actually really hate talking on camera. And I realized I had to develop the skill and I practiced it a lot. It wasn't my favorite for a long time, for sure. I I'm social, like in some senses, like I think I'm just curious. So I'm extroverted in that sense. Like I want to learn about people. I want to see what's going on. But at some point I do sort of like my bubble as well.
Yeah. How did you like get out of that, your comfort zone, and get yourself out there?
I mean, literally just practice.
Yeah.
You know, I do have a philosophy that if something makes me uncomfortable, I have to do it.
Yeah.
So I went through a phase of like, I did quite a few different public speaking engagements, and I said yes before understanding kind of the scale of that. And then I was already there, so I had to do it, which is a lot like working in film, honestly. Someone says, hey, do you want to get hit by a car? And you're like, okay, in 3 weeks, that sounds great. And then you don't think about it. And then you're there looking at the car going, this maybe I don't want to do this anymore, but it's too late.
Yeah. Well, there's something about being in uncomfortable positions and uncomfortable situations that help you grow too.
Well, and when you kind of go into that with that mindset of like trying to like fail almost, it's harder than you think to like completely fail at something.
Yeah.
And then when you don't completely fail, it's like, oh, okay, well, what if I just keep doing this?
What are the other things have you like signed up for?
I mean, so the public speaking thing, I said yes to, and then when I got there, they had rented a theater and bussed in like 6 buses of people.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is all right. Like stage, the whole thing. That one was definitely, honestly, for me, one of the biggest, like outside of my comfort zone things. I mean, my job is so much discomfort.
What did you have to talk about in front of all these people?
I mean, that was sort of up to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was a financial institution hired me to speak with like their women in leadership and also some other women sort of about, and so I spoke a little bit about some leadership things that I had learned through stunts, some of what I'd learned through racing, and some of the ways that people had supported me and kind of helped me to keep stepping out of my comfort zone, actually. Yeah.
What did you say about leadership?
I think it's really important, and I say this to people a lot, if someone is giving you an opportunity, you need to trust their judgment, right? They're not giving you an opportunity to make themselves look bad. So sort of taking yes for an answer is a big piece for me. But when it comes to leadership, giving people the feedback and the support in their low moments, like not only when they're succeeding, is really important. And the example that I gave there was actually an FD specific example, which was what happened to me my very first FD event, which was that I crashed into the wall at Atlanta. And I was like, oh, like, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't belong here. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I've embarrassed myself. I was like feeling very awful.
Right.
And someone from FD actually came up to me and they were like, I was in the VIP area and I was just watching, and he was like, hey, like, just keep training. You belong here.
Right.
We want you here.
Yeah.
And that for me in that moment was like life-changing. And it was a tiny phrase from him, you know, but it allowed me to keep going, and it kind of helped me to like build my resolve, because when you fail, you're thinking everyone is seeing you fail, and you're thinking everyone sees that you're not capable.
Yeah.
Those are all temporary moments, right? Like in that moment, maybe you couldn't, but you can get there. Yeah. And so as a leader, I think it's really important in those moments to support people.
Yeah. To bring them up, right? Yeah. Right. Because like, I feel like leaders bring people up rather than being carried by, people, right? You have
agree.
to, what are some of the important traits of, leadership that you would like to have, moving forward, or, things that you've learned to have as a leader?
I think a really important part of being a leader is using people for what they're best at, if that makes sense, right? Like building a team, like building a race team, you can have a collection of people, and every blend of people is different. But helping people access their strong points, helping develop those strong points is really important. But also as a leader, I think learning to let go. Right. I think that the biggest thing, if you're used to running something by yourself or like being hyper independent, which I was before I got into racing, understanding that you actually can't do it all yourself. Nobody is served by you doing it all yourself. And so learning to delegate, understanding what loss of fidelity is acceptable and not acceptable, and still being accountable for the choices that you made. Ultimately, if someone on my team makes a mistake, that's on me. Yeah. Right. Either I didn't give them the right information, or they weren't ready for the job. And it was up to me to assess. They don't know.
Did you have a lot of experience working or running your own team before you started your FD team?
I did not, but stunt coordinating is kind of similar in a way. The biggest difference was now it was my money.
Yeah.
But I had some really great mentors coming up in stunts. And as a stunt coordinator, you are responsible for managing the safety of the cast, but also, hiring all the stunt people and basically just running rehearsals, scheduling things, a lot of logistics. So that did help me, I think, a lot with racing because I sort of already understood how to play what I call 5D Tetris.
Yeah. So you do stunt coordinating as well.
Yeah.
So what's like the biggest team you've ever worked with coordinating?
Like number of people?
Yeah.
It sort of depends on the day, right? So a stunt department will have a core team. You'll have your stunt coordinator. You'll have perhaps like assistant stunt coordinators, et cetera, lead doubles. But you might have a day where you have 30 stunt people out that you have to manage for that day, tell them all what to do and make the plan in advance. Something probably around that number. Yeah.
Are drivers like different kind of stunt people?
Yeah, drivers really are. And I've tried really hard to create opportunities for more people to develop stunt driving as a skill because it's really needed.
Yeah.
But the thing with stunt driving that's different is when you're doing physical stunts, you might hit someone in the face. You might break a bone.
Yeah.
Most of the time, those are the risks. There are like larger risks, but generally speaking, the consequences are not that severe. If you hit a camera, you're going to get hurt. If you're driving a car, you could kill someone. You could destroy a $100,000 piece of equipment. There's a lot that can go wrong. So the pressure is different. Yeah. And a lot of stunt people that get into driving are like, like the communication is also higher, right? Because the stunt coordinator can't see everything all at once. As a driver, I have to look at all the potential outcomes. And I have to say, if you put that camera there, that's also where the car is going to be. So we should probably choose if that's something we want or not. There's ways to communicate that stuff, but you have to be a better communicator. You have to think about all the possible outcomes in a different way. And you have to be comfortable with a level of pressure that doesn't exist if you don't have a several thousand-pound vehicle.
What if the stunt coordinator doesn't have the driving skills? Does that ever happen?
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the stunt coordinator's job is to hire the right people to do the job.
Right.
So if the stunt coordinator knows that there's something they don't know, they'll hire the best stunt drivers and say, this is what we want. Can we do that? What do you need? How do I support you in doing that? So again, it's leadership, right? It's hiring the right people for the job and then listening to them.
Yeah. Was there an instance where you were the driver and the stunt coordinator sort of had no idea about driving though? And I feel like if the leader doesn't have that skill and they hired you, they have to really, really listen to you, right?
Yeah, and I've been very fortunate. Most of the time they do. But if I don't feel comfortable doing something, if I feel the outcome's going to be bad, then that's my job. I consider it my job to communicate with the necessary people to change a parameter to make it achievable.
Yeah. What's your, how do you build trust within your team, whether it's stunt or, your crew, or how do you do that?
I think trust is built over time, but it's also built through shared suffering. When things are easy, I don't think the stakes are that high. Yeah. When things are hard, that's where you see who people really are and how they behave and how they treat one another. Yeah. So I think a big part of that is being level-headed, being compassionate even when you're having a bad time. For me, I always want to suffer with the crew. That was the hardest part for me as a driver. And when I was operating as like team owner driver, I would have to send myself home sometimes so that I could get rest. Yeah. Right. So that for me was hard, but trust is consistency. And I think it's those moments of shared suffering.
Yeah. Give us an example of shared suffering.
Oh boy. Too many to count. I think we did 2 steering racks in Atlanta. We built an engine overnight in Utah. My car showed up with a fresh engine in Utah and threw a rod on the very first dyno pole. Oh. So then we had to build a new engine out of the okay parts of my old engine. Were you
building your car as well?
I would wrench when I needed to, but I'm really good at taking stuff apart. I'm really good at stuff that aren't engines.
Okay.
You know, I can do it in a pinch. I don't think I'm the most efficient person at it, so I try not to do it. Right. Certainly not when I'm racing. But yeah, so we collectively, we the team of shared suffering people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What was your highest moment though, drifting?
I mean, honestly, one of my highest moments, although there's kind of a lot, one of my highest moments was definitely the moment that I got my license for FD, because I didn't know it was coming.
Right.
So it was in a shootout. It was a double elimination shootout. I lost an early battle, and then it was just battle in the like whatever that side is called, in the like once single elimination side, right? You battle.
Yeah.
And then I battled, and I went to like pull up at the end, and they're like, "Oh no, go wait over there." And I was like, "Wait, what's happening?" And that's when I found out I'd already battled for the license.
Oh,
like
wow.
it was already done, and I think that was probably why it worked, because I didn't know. I was just, when you battle back to back to back like that, you really get in the zone. I think a lot of drivers come alive with more battles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And where was this at?
That was in Vancouver, in
Okay.
Canada. Yeah,
Right.
Mission Raceway.
Was Taka like mentoring you at this point already?
Yeah, I started working with Taka pretty early in my drifting career. He wasn't the first person I worked with, but I learned more from Taka in a day's evaluation than I did in the first year working with somebody else. And so when I realized how much he knew and how much I didn't have that I thought I had, that's when I started working with him.
What was that you thought you had but did not have?
Throttle commitment is a big piece of that. I think a lot of people think they're drifting, and they are technically drifting, but wheel speed is such an important part of it.
Yeah.
And the car feels different when you're doing the minimal amount to get it to drift, and when you're doing the full max and just taking back just enough to have enough traction.
Right.
So Taka's like driving style, his coaching style is just so analytical, and he's meticulous.
Basically, he told you need to floor it more.
Well, no, it's Yoshi, actually, if we want to be honest. Yoshi came out and she did her Yoshi move, and she stood and she was like, "Where are your balls?" Like, the number of times that Yoshi asked me, like, "Is your foot on the floor though?" And I'd be like, "I think so." And she's like, I don't,
No.
there is no hiding from either of those two.
Yeah.
So,
they can hear the difference.
they can hear the difference. You can see it in the car. I mean, Taka can see where your eyes are from 400 feet away. So there's no hiding anything. But it really, I mean, it keeps you honest.
Yeah.
Right. And also when you work with people that are at that level, they're not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
So I worked so hard just to be able to have them be kind of like, "No, you didn't. That was good." Like I could ride that for a year.
Yeah.
Them saying that I did a good job.
Right. Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. What do you feel about? I mean, so many people have gone through their school, right? And do you feel like they're sort of like the gateway into drifting?
I think they're the most efficient gateway into being good at drifting, honestly. Like, you can figure it out alone for years, but I think there's a really big difference between like your friend being like, "Dude, try this," like being able to sort of do it and being able to teach are like wildly different.
Yeah.
Being able to see what someone needs to change, like that's what makes a really good coach.
Yeah.
So anytime anyone's like, "You should teach me to drift," I'm like, no, because I wouldn't do a very good job of it. But you could go to Taka for 2 days and save yourself a year's worth of unlearning habits, which is what I had when I went to Taka.
Right.
It took me like literal years to really be able to floor it without having to think about it. Yeah.
Where did you first drift? Like learn how to drift?
So the very first time I ever went drifting was actually in Montreal.
Okay.
I had a 2001 Mustang GT that I bought, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, if you like floor it and then drop the clutch, you can do donuts." And I was like, "Really?" And I would like go to parking lots and practice. And then I went out to Montreal with the car. I was working on something out there, and I went to some drifting, like open drifts out there, but I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to set up a car. I didn't know how to even modify a car. What was cool is that, like, and this is so consistent with the drifting community and why I want to see the drifting community worldwide, people were still like super helpful and super open, and they gave me the feedback that they could. Yeah. But ultimately, like, your technical knowledge has to also kind of step up along the way before you can even understand what people are saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, being a good, I think it's the same in any sport, right? Being a good athlete doesn't mean you're a good coach at all, because a lot of coaches are not great athletes, right? They're just really great at teaching. Yeah, and I'm not, I mean, Taka's, obviously he competed in Formula Drift, pro level, but I feel like his contribution to the community is probably more as a teacher now than, he was as a driver.
I mean, in terms of legacy, absolutely. I think he's produced more pro drivers and more high-level drivers than anyone.
Yeah, for sure. I had this question about what advice you give them about breaking into this world, but we've kind of already talked about that.
Don't do it.
Why not?
It'll ruin your life.
Oh, don't do it? Yeah. Do you actually have like little girls come up to you and say, how do I become a stunt driver, or how do I become a pro drifter?
I do. I do. And especially like when I'm at a race event, any girl, regardless of age, that comes to my pits, if she wants to, she gets to sit in the car.
Yeah.
I think just getting to experience that really will motivate people. But ultimately, no, if someone's serious, I'm not going to lie to them about how hard it is. I would say you can do this without doing it at the highest level or like destroying yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can be happy with that, you should do that.
Yeah.
But if you're serious, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you help them? What would the first advice you would give them?
I mean, ultimately, the thing that I've learned, however, is like you can give people advice till you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
They have to experience it too, right? The number of things that Taka told me that I had to still learn myself by making the same mistakes, it's just reality, right? But you can at least say, this is what you should expect. This is how it's going to be. And, ultimately, if you can let someone come and experience what it's like at a weekend as opposed to having to buy their own car to experience that, I'm happy to do it.
Well, I mean, they say, how do you make $1 million in racing? Start with 3 million, right? I mean, and it might even be more these days, but I mean, what do you do about like finances though? I mean, it's like racing is, and even drifting is, it's like you were saying, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
So I worked and invested smartly and had real estate for 20 years, and I blew it all in 3 years to make Formula Drift happen. So I'm not a good example of how to do it. It's like, are you willing to pay that price?
Yeah.
Because whatever, like, this is what I say to people, like, how much money do you have?
Yeah.
Like if they say, like, how much does it cost to drift? Well, how much do you have?
Yeah.
It's that much plus more.
Right.
That's how much it is.
Yeah, it really is, right? It's like you can have all the passion in the world, but if you're broke, you just can't.
No.
Yeah. It's like the first thing you do is go make some money, right?
Yeah, but honestly, like I've met some financial advisors and I usually say, here's the only financial advice that
Don't go drifting.
certainly someone that me needs is like, don't buy a race car.
Yeah.
Definitely don't buy two.
Yeah.
And like never compete in drifting.
That's funny. Yeah. I mean, it is true, right? It's like yeah, exactly. Don't go racing. Right.
But like if it depends on what is your measure of happiness? Like what is a life well lived is the other side, right?
Yeah.
Like my friends joke, I call myself a life enhancement coach because the number of people that have bought drift cars because of me is a lot.
Yeah.
But if people call me asking, should I do this? They're not calling me to get talked out of it.
No,
they're calling me to get the permission. So so usually I'm like, buy the car because you will not regret buying the car when you're 80, but you might regret not doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why I did FD, really.
Right. Do you have any regrets?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, now and then, there have definitely been moments where I'm like, I definitely could have done something a lot more pleasurable with this. But no, I had to know. You have to know what it's like. You have to see it all the way through. And I'm so glad for the connections that I made and kind of what it's allowing me to do moving forwards.
Yeah. Well, you would regret it if you didn't do it, right?
I have a really good friend who's a stuntman, and he's also this is really cool. He formation flies like World War II bombers.
Okay.
Like fighter planes. And when I was talking to him about it, because so many people would be like, oh my God, you're living your dream. It must be so amazing. And I was like, I mean, it's a lot, and he was like, yeah, the only thing worse than doing this would be not doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yeah. No, totally. But before you guys, came in, I mean, TJ and I were talking about it, and TJ was like, should I buy a drift car in Japan? I was like,
Yes.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Go for it, man. Because you'll regret it if you don't, right? Yeah. If you're already thinking about it, it means that you should probably do it, right? So what's next for you? Like, what are your goals now? It's like you kind of like seems like you got the FD bug, right? And you're still enjoying drifting, doing grid life, and you're doing stunts, and like, what's next for you?
Definitely continental drift. So that for me is traveling to places that are probably mostly not Japan.
Yeah.
And meeting the drifters and showing the motorsport culture there.
Yeah.
You know, I was so shocked to know when I learned that there were drifters in Morocco. I've had the opportunity of like ice drifting in Sweden with Frederick and some of the other drifters there. I had the opportunity earlier this year. I was in Germany. I got to go to the largest grassroots drift event in Germany, which is like 300 drivers. And the way that they organize stuff is just totally different there. So I kind of want to do that, you know, remember that I love drifting. And what I love about drifting isn't competing. Yeah. It's like getting on the track, seeing some guy you've never met before. He's banging your door. You get out of the car. You're like, did we just become best friends? And you don't even know each other, right? Like that's how you don't even know someone's name. You just know their car. And that kind of connection, that's what I want to do.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think about doing other forms of motorsports?
Listen, if someone was like, hey, Z, we've got a seat in X or Y, I would 100% say yes because I am a say yes person. Yeah. Do I right now want to compete in something else? I don't think so. I think long term, yes. And I want to drive those things. Like I definitely would do more rally. I definitely love off-road. I want to do more off-roading stuff. And to an extent in my Army truck, although when it's your house, like you shouldn't take certain risks with it, right? Yeah. I just more wheel time, less competition, I think.
Yeah. Seems like you're enjoying the driving and the connections you make through drifting more than the competition part. But it seems like you're happy that you competed though, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I'm sure I will again. Yeah. You know, I'll still compete at a certain level, but remembering that this is a thing I love and falling in love with it all over again and connecting with the people, I really want to do that too.
Yeah. Connect in real life. Yeah. Right? Yeah. We have this segment. Ooh. It's a rapid fire. Okay.
Stand by. I'm going to take a drink.
Yeah. Just whatever comes to your mind. This segment is called Rapid Fire.
Rapid Fire.
Got about handful of questions. Just like whatever comes to your mind first. Okay. Favorite drift car.
Favorite drift car. My drift car. Yeah, my S14.
Okay. Yeah. What's the most dangerous stunt you ever did?
Depends on your metric. Some people would say fire. I don't think so. Certainly some of the car crashes. I did some things in Morocco that were no wires jumping across gaps that I couldn't see the landing before I was in the air. Those are dangerous, yeah.
Okay. Go-to acrobatic move.
Oh, okay. So a 1 3/4 with a full twist on a trampoline.
Very good. Favorite food?
Avocado.
Nice. Favorite snack when you are competing?
Chow. Matt's everything really. Matt's spotter and he fed us. He used to make me these lettuce wraps. They're pretty great. Just like a sandwich but in a lettuce.
Nice. Do you have a ritual before you do something dangerous?
Mostly not think about it until I have to do it, and then think about it very carefully just before I do it.
Oh, okay. Great. What would you never do? What would you never do, but if convinced you would do?
I told you about the word never, right? Yeah. A marathon.
Oh, okay. Place you would like to visit?
All of them.
One place.
Antarctica.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, thank you. That was great. Good.
Awesome.
Good answers. Did you know all those answers?
It's the hardest one to get to.
It is. They have marathon races in
God,
Antarctica.
kill me.
They do. They have like all these like all continent marathons where you have to do a marathon race in every single continent.
Did you see that mother? I think it was like a mother-daughter team, and she was driving across Antarctica in a race car.
I didn't see that one, but I've seen people.
Years ago, yeah.
I've seen people driving through.
It was like
Antarctica.
a vintage car too.
Oh, really?
I think. Yeah, it was very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. We're getting close to wrapping it up. Our next segment is called Who's Boosting It? This is a short segment. I want you to name a event that's boosting it, that's really doing good right now, a creator that's doing great right now, and a brand that's doing great right now in your opinion. So let's start with an event. Who's boosting it right now?
I think Hot Pit is boosting it right now. Yeah.
Okay. Why so?
Just elevating the level of competition and bringing that locally here. The access to the quality of competition. Like there's some FD quality battles happening locally.
Yeah.
And the ability, like as a driver, to access that level of competition without having to be in FD, I think is huge.
I see. Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
How about brand? Which brand is boosting it right now?
Oh boy, I'm going to need to think for a second here.
And it doesn't even have to be an auto. In auto, but which brand like comes to your mind that's like really doing good right now?
I've been interested to see some of the makeup companies actually making the swap over into automotive.
Oh, okay.
Elf Cosmetics, I think, did it first. They were working with Colette and a few other people. But just acknowledging that women might want to both like be in the automotive space and still use makeup. I think a lot of brands are not leveraging access to women, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if you look at oil.
Yeah.
It's never marketed to women, but lots of women change their oil. And I bet that any company that just acknowledged that women have cars would have all the women buying their products just for the low price of acknowledging that they exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think that there's some room for boosting it in that regard.
Good. Samantha Tan was at our event, right?
Yeah.
And she was saying,
she's great.
I wear makeup and I don't care. And I will, even if I have a helmet, I'm still going to wear makeup, It's like, so, and her and Sonia is sort of vibing on that because Sonia wears makeup too. And she likes to look nice when she has a helmet on, right? So like, motorsport makeup, maybe that's the new thing.
We've been making a lot of jokes of like, could we just do makeup with motorsport?
Yeah.
And I definitely have a bit of a line because I often end up with oil in my hair. So we're doing like, maybe it's natural.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Pennzoil.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not sure they'd get behind it. I'm not sure it's approved, but.
Yeah, I mean, there's always an angle, right? Well, like Formula One is like really getting into the female audience, right? And they're marketing towards female right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if, there are some cosmetic brands and more fashion. Well, fashion is already in motorsports, right? The Boss, and you have like that other, big, which is that Louis Vuitton, right? They're like title sponsor almost, right? For a couple of these races. But how do you feel about like fashion brands and like, female-centric brands getting into motorsports?
I think it makes total sense.
Yeah.
The audience for F1, especially when they started making racing about the story, and this is like, I think this is such an important thing. Story is underutilized, especially in the motorsport space. Why does F1 have so many female fans now? Because they started telling the stories.
Yeah.
Right. They started telling, right? Yeah. So any other motorsport that started doing that started building human connection and human investment, like emotional investment in the drivers, is going to have that buy-in and a larger audience that maybe aren't just gearheads.
Why do you think it works so well in Formula One? And it's, they say Drive to Survive changed Formula One, but it's not the first show that really focused on the story, right? I mean, a lot of series have tried to do that, but it just hasn't worked. Is it because the show is just not made well, or is it because Formula One just has like more handsome guys driving, or why do you think it works so well in Formula One?
I mean, as a film person, I have to do a bit of a hat tip to the producers, right? There is no shortage of stories and of drama, and selecting what to tell that is gonna kind of activate people's emotions ultimately, because that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. I think that's a really important part of it. So producing, you do have to be careful with the selecting of the stories. And also, I mean, the reality is you can tell any story you want with a piece of footage.
Right, yeah. So. You can make it. Yeah. I think those guys just did a great job, taking the right pieces, right? And bringing those characters up.
And humanizing them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Okay, last, creator. Who's boosting it right now?
I'm a big fan of Larry Chen.
Yeah. He's killing it.
He's killing it. He's so creative. He's such a hard worker. He's such a kind person. And just like what he's done with motorsport photography, what he's doing outside of that, the storytelling aspect, again, you'll never hear me not say story, but...
Yeah, no, it's true though. Yeah, it's all about storytelling. Content is all about storytelling, and creators are all about storytelling. In the end, that's what humans do, and that's what humans gravitate towards. Even since we were cavemen, right? We sat around the fire and drew pictures and told stories. That's what we do. Great. My last question for every interview we do is we ask everyone what their creative drive is. What drives you?
Curiosity.
That's a good one. Yeah. Have you always been a curious person?
Yes.
Yeah. Since you were a little girl?
Since I was very young. Yeah. I was always exploring. I was always climbing stuff. I was always somewhere I shouldn't be, just wanting to see what was up there or what it would be like from that vantage point. Yeah. So it's a continuation of that.
All right. Well, Zee, thanks so much for flying all the way to our little studio in Irvine, California. It was a pleasure having you as our guest. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching and listening to The Creative Drive, where we offer listeners a candid look into the minds of automotive creators and their journeys. The Creative Drive is available on all podcast platforms, and we have more awesome guests lined up for you guys, so please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. If you're interested in partnering with us, or if you have any feedback, please email us at podcast@racer.com or DM us in our Instagram. The Creative Drive is produced by Molly Binks from Racer Studio, directed by TJ Keon, creative director George Tamayo, and edited by Andrew Snyder. We've got new Nick, OG Nick, and Morgan on the socials. I'm your host, Taro Koki. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time.